Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to another weekly trading webinar where we look at live trading strategies and risk management approach. Before we continue, please be aware that any opinion, news, research, prices, analysis, or information discussed in this webinar or linked to this presentation is only provided as general market commentary and does not constitute investment advice. If you're looking for investment advice, then be sure to contact a regulated financial advisor. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Dumelo. I'm a senior market analyst at CWG Markets, and I'll be taking you through the session today. Now, to keep up to date with daily market tips and analysis with CWG Markets, be sure to subscribe to this Telegram channel where you'll receive daily market news and outlooks, educational trading content, webinar access and event updates, as well as official promotions and announcements. And if you believe you know a fellow trader who would benefit from being a part of this channel, then be sure to share this link or the QR code so that they can enjoy daily tips and analysis from CWG Markets on a consistent basis. For those of you that are looking to trade with CWG Markets, I want to bring your attention to the fact that CWG Markets offers a 100% welcome deposit bonus, where you can enjoy a 100% bonus on every deposit up to $1,000 on your trading account, where you can double your funds, increase your margin, double your equity, and grow your account in the quickest way possible. Now, this is a midweek update, and today we have very important economic indicators happening, specifically in the US dollar, where we've got core CPI month-on-month, CPI month-on-month, as well as CPI year-on-year, high-impact news being released today. So what is CPI? So CPI is a key economic indicator that measures the monthly percentage change in the consumer price index for all goods and services in the United States. This indicator provides valuable insights into the rate of inflation in the US and is an important indicator that has a direct influence on the value of the US dollar. We also have our core CPI month-on-month, which is a key economic indicator that measures the monthly percentage change in the CPI for all goods and services, excluding volatile food and energy sector in the US. Also a very important economic indicator that has a direct influence on the value of the US dollar. We also have CPI year-on-year, which is basically a year-on-year percentage change in the CPI figures for the US dollar. Now, these high impact news economic indicators on the US dollar have a direct influence on the value of the USD and tend to have a high probability to have high volatility on the US dollar and any US dollar related pairs when these economic indicators are released. So the goal today is just to have a look at the intraday setups that are happening on the dollar pairs to see what levels to keep a look out for and what direction I'm looking to trade this coming CPI as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch over to the charts here, and I'm going to do a intraday analysis of the charts. And any key levels to look out for. Again, the key assets I'm going to be looking at are AUD USD. I've got Euro Dollar, GBP USD, Kiwi Dollar, Dollar CAD, Dollar Swiss, Dollar Yen, Gold, US Oil, S&P 500, US 30, and the Nasdaq. So I'm just going to analyze the levels that I'm going to be keeping a lookout for. So starting on AUD USD, I'm going to switch to the 4-hour time frame. Reason being is I want to identify the most recent potential supply and demand levels. Whereas here, potential demand level here, and then supply. If I zoom out here on the 4-hour time frame, the next potential supply level, I see on the 4-hour, no levels I see here on the 4-hour, meaning I'm going to switch to the daily chart. And what I'll use here for the daily chart is my potential support and resistance levels on the daily that I will focus on here. So daily chart, the next potential level of resistance here is all the way over here. This is around 2022 June the 2nd. Okay, so this high over here as potential resistance. So now back to the 15-minute chart here. So there's no supply level I can see here, so I'm going to focus on the 15-minute chart and see what recent levels I have in terms of demand on Aussie dollar. So I see a level over here which is no longer relevant, another one here which was relevant that price broke through but no longer relevant anymore, another one over here, one over here. So there's quite a few here that I can look out for. Okay, and this one down here. Okay, so we'll start here. Let's see. So this one over here. This level no longer relevant. This level here no longer relevant. This one here, pretty much they're all in the same zone, but this is the closest one we have. Then we've got this one over here, which seems to be a zone. The price is coming off, and then we've got this one over here as well. And if I go below, these ones over here. Okay, so those will be the levels of focus for today. And I'll add this in just so we can see the zones here. All right. So add that in, that's there. So basically what we have here on Aussie dollar is we have our demand zone number 1 over here, demand number 2, and the demand zone number 3 below. We don't have any supply level, only the resistance all the way at the top here at the 0.7263 level. So this will be the key levels of focus for AUD USD today. All right, so that's AUD USD. Next, we'll look at here is Euro USD. So Euro dollar. Switch to the 4-hour time frame here. Identify most recent potential supply and demand levels. I've got a potential supply over here and a potential demand level over here, where the supply is March the 10th, 200-hour candle with price pushed down with high volume, and demand level March the 9th, 1600-hour candle with price pushed up with high volume. So going to the 50-minute chart just to identify levels here. This one here is no longer relevant since price broke through there, but we have 2 more up here which seem to be the zone of focus, so here and here, and then got another one here, not relevant. This one down here, no longer relevant. We've got more levels down here, starting with this one here and the one right next to it. So this one here, if I draw this in, this one's no longer relevant since price broke through that one. So the next potential level is all the way down here. Then moving along, as you can see, I'll delete this one there. The next level will be slightly below over there, which is also like a zone. And if I continue, there will be another one down here. This one here, no longer relevant. This one here, still relevant. This one here, no longer relevant. And this one here, still relevant. So those are all the levels there. So this one here, this one here, and this one here. So our supply here, we've got March the 10th, 2030 candle, 2015 candle, and all the other levels here from March the 9th, from 2215, 1700 hour, 1215, 815, as well as 400 hour candle, which are levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So add this one in here. Then we've got another zone over here. So add in the rectangle so the zone can be visible. There we go. So zooming out, basically what we can see here on euro dollar is we have our demand zone number 1 over there, demand number 2, demand 3, demand 4, and then our supply zone all the way at the top over there. So this will be the level of focus for euro dollar for today's CPI session. Next, we move along to GBP USD. So I'll go to the 4-hour time frame, identify potential levels of supply and demand, where I see a potential level here where price pushed down with high volume, and another level here where price pushed up with high volume. So this here is a level of potential demand where price pushed up with high volume, and this is a level of supply, potential supply, where price pushed down with volume as well. Then I'll switch over to the 15-minute chart starting on March the 10th, identifying levels. That one's no longer relevant, this one's still relevant. Then pretty much the same as before. Got a level over here, another level here, another one over here. So starting with the first one, which is the potential here. So that's the first level there. Next is this one here, which price is broken through. So this is no longer relevant. Same with this one up here. So the next one is going to be this one down here. Delete this as well. Then the next levels I see is this one here, which is just below that one, and this one here, which seems to be the zone here. Okay, and then we've got more below. So I'll just focus on those for now. So this one here is a zone. Right. And that's our zone over there. So this is from March the 9th, where all these levels that you see here are levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So what we have over here on GBP USD, let me zoom in a bit more there, is, there we go, we have our demand number 1 here at the bottom. We'll also have our supply number 1 at the top there. Then we've got demand zone 2, 3, and demand number 4 all the way below. And this will be the levels of focus for CPI on GBP USD. Next, we've got Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar, I switch to the 4-hour, identify potential levels of supply and demand. I've got a potential supply level here and potential demand level over here. So switch to M15 from the 4-hour to draw in my levels. So again, the structure is pretty similar to what we've seen for the previous 2 sessions, but a little bit different here as we've got more recent levels there. That one's no longer relevant, so I'll do this one first, starting with the supply here, where price shot down from this level with high volume. Then we've got a level here of demand where price pushed up with a high volume from this level. Okay, and then continuing below to see if there are more recent levels. So there's this one here. So this one, like in the same level there. So I'm gonna leave that one out for now. Then the next one is down here. So this one over here, a level of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So there we go. So what we have here is Kiwi dollar is for demand number 1 over there, and we've got demand number 2 and supply number 1 at the top over there. And this will be the levels of focus for Kiwi dollar CPI session today. Next will be USD CAD. So dollar CAD, switching to the 4-hour time frame, we've got a potential level of demand here where price pushed up with high volume, and a potential level of supply all the way up here where price pushed down with high volume. So here's potential supply and here's potential demand on dollar CAD 4-hour. Switch to the 15-minute time frame, draw in our levels that are of relevance. So relevant levels, these ones are no longer relevant. Same with this one over here, not relevant anymore. So no relevant levels on March the 10th, but if we move along to March the 9th to see any clues, I see a clue here, level of demand, which is no longer relevant since price broke through that level. And the next potential level here, also no longer relevant since price broke below. So what I'm going to do there is we need to go back to the 4-hour time frame to identify that level. So I'm going to go back to, well, first let me start with the supply, since I can see it over here. So all the way down here, start with potential level of supply, and obviously I see one over here before March the 6th where price shot down with high volume, which still seems to be a relevant level over here. So that will be a level of supply for me from March the 9th. And then the next potential level of supply is this one up here, this one up here, and this one here, no longer relevant. So I'm going to delete this one, where price pushed down with high volume, and this is from March the 6th. So there's that one, and then there's this one over here. Okay, and what this is a zone. So from there to there. Then what I can do is go down there to complete the zone. As well. So all levels of supply where price pushed down with high volume. Now going back to the 4-hour time frame to identify the next potential demand level. It seems the next potential demand will be all the way over here, Feb 11th, where price pushed up with high volume. So go to M15, jump all the way to Feb 11th. And identify potential demand levels where price pushed up with high volume, which I can see there's a level here and a level right next to it over there where price pushed up with high volume. And this is from Feb 11th as well. High volume spikes where price pushed up with high volume. So those will be the most recent levels of demand to focus on. So now if I go back to the chart, I'll zoom out a bit. What I can see here is I see supply number 1 over here, supply number 2, which is a zone, and then below I've got demand number 1 over here, and if I zoom back down, there's demand number 2 all the way below. But for now, I'll just focus on these levels for now on dollar CAD for CPI trading session today. Next that I'll look at here is USD CHF. We'll go back to the 4-hour time frame. Identify potential supply and demand levels, where I see a potential supply all the way up here and potential demand all the way down here, where we're looking at a level here where price pushed up with high volume, and a level here where price pushed down with high volume for a potential supply level. Then I'm going to switch to the 15-minute chart, look for some clues. I do see a clue here on March the 10th first. This clue is no longer relevant, but this one below still is. So this is a more recent level of demand. I've got another one down here as well, also relevant. Both here are levels of demand, as we can see, where price pushed up with high volume from these levels. And then next, what I can focus on is the supply here. So moving along, I've got March the 9th, and we're looking for levels of supply where price pushed down with high volume. So here's one, which is the more recent level over here. So that's the first one. And then the next one, this one's still not relevant. This one's no longer relevant. Same with this one. This one over here is still relevant and seems to be creating what we call here a zone of supply. And then continuing, another few levels over here, which are no longer relevant, same as this one up here. So this here and here is a zone. So there's our zone. Then I'll go to the day before, see if there are any other clues here. Seems it is a clue as well over here where price pushed down with high volume. Okay, so There we go. So what we can see here is we've got March the 6th, a level here where price pushed on with high volume. March the 9th, a level over here where price pushed up with high volume, and another level over here where price pushed down with high volume to create our level of supply. So now if I zoom out, what do I see here? I've got supply zone number 1 at the top here, supply number 2, as well as demand number 1 and demand number 2 on dollar CHF. And this will be for me the levels to focus on for when the CPI economic indicators are going to be released. Next is USD JPY. Starting on the 4-hour, I see a potential level of supply here where price pushed down with high volume, and a potential level of demand up here where price pushed up with high volume over here. So here's our potential demand, and here's our potential supply from the 4-hour. I switch to the 15-minute chart, starting on March the 10th, looking for any clues which are relevant. So these clues here are still relevant. Same with these ones. Well, this one not anymore, but this one down here still is. So this is the first level I see here. Another one here. This one down here. And this one down here. Okay, which is all levels of demand, as you can see here, where price pushed up with high volume. And this one over here as well. Then for supply, which we identified from the 4-hour time frame, starting here, March the 9th. See a clue here. This one is not relevant anymore. If I draw this in, yeah, no longer relevant. Then the next one is this one here, not relevant anymore. This one here, no longer relevant. This one here, still relevant. So that's the one over here. And then moving along, we've got this one here, not relevant anymore. Same with this one here. This one here, still relevant. So this is like the zone. And then another one up here, which is also relevant. Okay, so those are the most recent levels where the first two here are creating like a zone. So add in the rectangle here as the zone of supply. And that will be the level of supply. Okay, so what we have then is from, if we delete this, March the 9th, we've got all levels of supply here, which are all areas where price pushed down with high volume. Now if I go here to the most recent price, so basically what we have over here is we have supply number 1, supply zone number 1, supply number 2, demand 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the way at the bottom over there. And these will be the levels of focus for USD JPY in today's CPI trading session. Okay, so USD JPY. Next, we're going to move over to the commodities, starting with gold. So gold, starting on the 4-hour, what level here where it seems price pushed down with high volume, and then demand all the way down here, which is a level where price pushed up with high volume from here, and this is a potential demand level where price pushed down with high volume. So switch to M15, join our levels. Here's the first one, which is a level of supply, which is still relevant. Then we've got another level of supply slightly above from there. Then for demand, I do see a clue here. There's actually quite a few clues here. Here's the first one. This is a level where price pushed up with high volume. another one over here. That one isn't relevant anymore. We've got this one is still relevant. And then if we look at March the 9th, this one here and this one here. So got this here, demand level, another one here, which is a demand level, this one over here, which is also part of the demand zone, and then this one below, which is a demand level as well. Okay, so I'll focus on those for now, where this one in here seems like a zone. And I'll add in the rectangle just so we can see. Okay, there we go. So basically, what we have over here is from March the 9th, we've got levels over here, and over here, where price pushed up with high volume, as well as this level over here from March the 10th. Then on March the 10th, we've got these two levels over here and over here, where price pushed down with high volume for our potential supply. So when we look at gold right now, we've got basically demand number 1 over here, demand zone number 2, demand number 3. Then we also have supply number 1 up here, supply number 2 above. Okay, and these will be the levels of focus for gold for this coming CPI. And that's our first commodity. Okay, next is US oil, WTI crude oil. So WTI crude oil, starting on the 4-hour chart here, we have a potential level of demand here. Well, here it's not clear, not too sure, but I can see this here as a potential level of supply. The next potential level of demand, if the current one I have isn't the one, will be this one here from March the 6th, where price pushed up with high volume. This one price pushed down with high volume for supply, and this one will keep a lookout for any potential current levels. So I switch to M15, where I need to drill down and see what's happening. So there's a level here, another one here, this one next to it, not relevant anymore. But if I move along here, this one's not relevant. This one seems like it still can be, as well as this one over there. And I see another potential one over here and this one over here. Okay, so start with this one. Okay, this one not relevant anymore, so I'm going to leave it. The next one is this one below, so delete this one. Next one is this one above, still relevant, same as this one, which is a zone, and this one over here also still relevant as well. And what I'd like to do is, seems there are more clues here. So this one not relevant, this one not relevant, but this one up here still is. Okay, this one here, and then there's another one next to it, which these two are pretty much in the same level. So for now, I'll just focus on those levels for now, where these ones form a little zone. Okay, so that's the zone there. Now, what we will do is go back to March the 6th for that potential demand level, since you only have one level of demand right now, which price could potentially break through. So zoom out, go back to March the 6th and see if there's any clues that we see here. So March the 6th, I do not see any clues, but if I scroll down to March the 5th, it seems like there is a potential clue here, which is again a level of demand where price pushed up with high volume. That's one is not relevant anymore, but this one below is. So that's going to be the next level. And since I'm here, let me identify any other potential levels, which is this one over here. And this one over here, which is the zone. Okay, so this will be another zone over there of focus. And these will be levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So we've got a level here from March the 4th, another level here from March the 4th, this one here from March 5, all levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So now if I go to the current price, okay, we'll just do this. If I zoom out, now keep it like this so it's easy to see. So we've got supply zone number 1, supply number 2, supply number 3. Then we've got demand number 1, 2, demand zone number 3 slightly below. And this will be the level of focus for US oil, which is WTI crude oil for CPI. Okay. Next, indices, starting with S&P 500. Let's go to a 4-hour time frame. S&P 500. I see a potential level here. Not too sure, it could be supply or demand. Need to deeper look there. But the next potential demand is all the way down here, where price pushed up with high volume. And if I don't find any supply here, the next supply is this one up here from March the 5th, where price pushed down with high volume. Switching to M15 to join the levels. Here's the first one here. This one not relevant anymore, but this one here is a level of supply where price pushed down with high volume. Next is this one here. This level here, not relevant anymore. I've got another level here, not relevant anymore. And I see another spike down here, which could still be relevant and is that price is currently testing at the moment for potential demand. And then another one here, not relevant, and this one down here, which is the next potential level of demand where price pushed up with high volume. So March the 9th, we've got a level here, and March the 10th, this level over here, both levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. And then for that supply level, if I go back up here, and we go to where we identified the next supply level from the 4-hour time frame. There we go. Zoom out a bit here so I could see. First, see if there's any clues here from March the 6th, which could still be a level here. So what I'll do is I'll add it in, this one here from March the 6th, to see if it's still relevant. This level here where price pushed down with high volume. And then we've got March the 5th. The next level is this one up here, which is no longer relevant. And this one over here, no longer relevant as well. We've got these levels up here, that one still relevant. So it'll be the next level of supply from March the 5th, where price pushed down with high volume. So now if I zoom out and look at this one, yeah, still in the same zone here, so that's fine. Now if I go to the current price, so basically what we have over here, we've got demand number 1, demand number 2, then we've got supply zone number 1 here, and then supply number 2 at the top of here. And this is for S&P 500, US 500 for CPI trading session today. Then next is going to be Dow Jones, US 30, starting on the 4-hour. So Dow Jones, got a potential level here, not too sure, could be supply or demand, but we do have a potential demand below here and supply above of here. So this is a supply where price pushed down with high volume. Here's potential demand where price pushed up with high volume, and this one over here not confirmed as there's no clear direction from the 4-hour. But if we go to the 50-minute time frame to draw in, this looks pretty similar to what we had on S&P 500. So there's a level here, and then we've got another level here. This one isn't relevant anymore. Then another one down here, which could be part of a zone, and this one down here, and this one here, which is this one I'll delete, and this one I'll move to as is the zone there. So here's the first one here, second one here, that's the zone, and the next one down here. So this one here and here is the zone. Draw this zone in, then go to the next potential supply. If the current one here at the top gets broken, and we go to where we identified that supply on the 4-hour time frame, which is all the way up here, and declare next level of supply is this one here, which is still relevant, and there's this one here also still relevant. So that one over there, and this one over here. And then while I'm here, see if there's any other ones that are relevant, which could just be this one over here. Yeah. So there we go. So here we've got a level of supply where price pushed down with high volume. Here price consolidated before pushing down, and here where price pushed down with a high volume as well for our supply level. So now if I go back and zoom out a bit, all right, so basically what I have here is this high here, and this one over here is the zone. This is a zone where price pushed down with volume as well. Okay, so now that we're here, so basically what we have here on US 30 is we've got demand zone number 1, demand number 2, supply zone 1, supply zone number 2, and supply number 3 all the way at the top here. Okay, but we'll focus on these more recent levels for now. Okay, let's do it like that. and this is for US 30 Dow Jones CPI trading session. And the last one we have here is the Nasdaq UT 100. So starting on the 4-hour time frame, got a potential here, not clear as yet, could be supply, but we've got a potential demand here all the way at the bottom. And if I zoom out, if I don't find a supply, the next potential supply is this one up here. So here, price pushed down with high volume for supply. Here, price pushed up with high volume for demand. And here, we have to have a deeper look. So go to M15, zoom out there, and have a look for any levels. I see a level over here, which is still relevant. Another one here, no longer relevant. This one here still could be relevant. So here's the first one. This is a level here where price pushed down with high volume. Then we've got the next one over here where price pushed up with high volume that price is currently testing. And then the next one is this one here, and this one here, no longer relevant. And then this one right next to it, which is still relevant over there. Then we've got the next one below over there. So these levels from here, this one here, and this one here, all levels of demand where price pushed up with high volume. Then for our supply that we identified on the 4-hour time frame, we're looking for areas where price pushed down with high volume. And as you can see here, this one's not relevant anymore. This one here, if I draw this in, don't know if it's, yeah, this one's still relevant. Again, what we're looking at here is a zone, but to go higher, what I'll need to do, go back to the 4-hour time frame and see where the next potential supply is. If the zone currently that we have gets broken, and it seems to be this one all the way up here, where price pushed down with high volume. So again, back to the 15-minute chart, scroll down to where we identified that area, which is around Feb 26. And Feb 26, the next potential supply is this one up here, where price pushed down with high volume from this level. I see another clue over here, which is in the same zone there. So we'll leave that for now. But since we're here, I see another one over here where price pushed down with high volume. And this is more like a zone over there. Okay. So there we go. Drawing the zone. Okay, so perfect. So now if we go back and have a look here from the current price, basically we have a zone from here to here as well that I'll add in. So what we have here, zoom out. Let me just zoom in and focus on the more recent levels. So basically, we've got demand number one here, demand number 2 and 3 below, supply zone number 1 at the top here, and then supply zone 2 just slightly above. So I'll actually do it like this so we can see. Okay, and these will be the levels of focus for NASDAQ UT 100 for the CPI session today. So one last run through. We've got NASDAQ that we see here. We've got Aussie dollar, got Euro dollar, GBP USD, NZD USD, dollar CAD, dollar Swiss, USD JPY. We've got gold here, US oil, S&P 500, US 30 Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ UT 100. And these are the levels of focus for CPI, which will be released in about 25 minutes. Okay, but those are the levels that you can focus on, or that I'm going to be focusing on in this session today. Okay, so before we end this analysis session, I just want to bring your attention to the fact that with a minimum deposit of just $10 US, you can get access to a high leverage multi-asset trading account called the CWG Cent account. The Cent account makes professional trading more efficient with MetaTrader 5, where you can have access to trading forex, indices, commodities, stocks, as well as cryptocurrencies with just a minimum deposit of $10, and access to leverage of 1:1,000 up to 1:1,000, as well as EA automation support. With the CWG Cent account, if this is an account that you would like to use, then scan the QR code that you see on the screen and register for a CWG Cent account, as well as taking advantage of the 100% welcome deposit bonus, where you can enjoy 100% bonus on every deposit up to $1,000 on your trading account, where you can double your funds, increase your margin, double your equity, and grow your account in the most efficient way possible. If you enjoyed the session today, please feel free to scan the QR code that you see there and kindly leave us a review. This way we can maintain the quality and the standard of the CWG training sessions and education that we provide to the CWG trading community. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, feel free to follow any of the links or scan any of the QR codes, where you can either send me an email or a direct message on WhatsApp to get in touch with me, to ask me any question that you have, or suggest any future topics in future webinars that we will be hosting. Okay. The next session will be next week, Monday. As you know, we host webinars every Monday and Wednesday around this time over here. So the next session will be on Monday, the 16th of March. So I will see you then. But other than that, all the best for CPI today, and all the best for the rest of the week of trading for yourselves. Enjoy the day, and bye for now.